What has the Golem, Adam, Frankenstein, AI, and the Breath of Life all got in common? Well, perhaps humans are the golems of the god, and perhaps humans are starting to create their own golems by playing God through AI. And perhaps the new AI is the new human golem.
Quite a good scene, isn't it? One man crazy, three very sane spectators.
There are two types of golem. There's the golem in the Talmud, which is the Jewish Bible, and there's also the golem in Lord of the Rings. Now, perhaps these two golems have something in common. The golem is usually made out of mud. Mud is the earth, mud is the clay, mud, so anything that comes from the earth, I suppose, could be seen as mud. So if you manage to extract something from mud, let's say like gold or iron or other properties, metallic properties, and you build something, that could be interpreted as building something from mud. The word golem occurs in the Bible in Psalms 139:16, which uses the word golmi, my golem. That means my light or raw material. Again, raw material coming from the earth, and I suppose my light because something needs to be breathed into the golem in order to give it light. Adam is probably the first golem. He was made by God. He was made in the image and likeness of God, and he was made from mud. That Adam became us. Therefore, we are golems, but we are golems from the fifth dimension or above. When golems are created by humans, the golem cannot speak. But when the golem is created by God, the golem can speak. Today, who's making the golems? The golems are being made in laboratories by scientists. Scientists is a plural, but God also referred to himself as a plural. In the Bible, you might be able to interpret it as something like a future race or outside race of peoples that were making humans from or in laboratories. And so they were gods, not a god. And the Bible says in Genesis 1:26, then God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. So here in the Bible, God is a plural. It's many people or many gods. And a god, what is a god? A god is just something that you think or imagine to be bigger, better, or more advanced than you are. But if we went back in time to prehistoric man and we showed prehistoric man the great utilities that we have today, like toasters, microwaves, and electric screwdrivers, they would think that we were gods. In the Talmud, which is the Jewish equivalent of the Bible in the eyes of a Christian, a golem appears to Rava in one of their stories, Rava. And again, in medieval Europe, a rabbi made a golem which has historical accounts from well-known and reputable persons.
Of the Golem of Prague. In it, Rabbi Lowe asked the heavens how to stop the persecution of his community, and he received an answer: make a golem. To do this, he seeks the help of two other rabbis, each born with the power of one of the four elements. The rabbis represented air, fire, and water. Clay collected from the river served as the earth element. The rabbis take the clay and shape the form of a man. They each walk around the form counterclockwise 7 times, reciting special letters. The body begins to glow and vapors rise from the form. The golem opens his eyes, now a living thing.
Dr. Frankenstein is a doctor that makes a golem. We keep thinking that Frankenstein is the golem, but he's actually the doctor. His name is Victor Frankenstein. Now, Victor Frankenstein made this golem, but he used lightning to breathe life into his golem. When he wanted to make his golem come alive, what did he do? He got the light, he got God's magic wand, he got the powers of beyond, and he managed to get this power and imbue it into his monster, and his monster came alive. In other words, God breathed into his monster and God gave monster life. Now, lightning is energy, energy is electricity. Humans do this today. When somebody has a cardiac arrest and they die, what do? They breathe life into the monster or the human. And they do it by putting electricity onto the chest and injecting electricity to try to restart the heart again. So again, we can see electricity, power, strength, lightning being directed into humans to give them life. But now today there is a new God coming along, and this new God is called man. And man is becoming God through the use of AI, artificial intelligence. And he is building robots. And these robots, they can't yet speak like we can speak, but they soon will be able to, once we manage to access hidden knowledge through quantum mechanics and quantum physics to build algorithms and AI quantum mechanic machines that go into parallel universes to get data from us, in order to build these new superstructure AI machines, robots and everything else. So in effect, we, the human, are now becoming God. The interesting thing is that when God works his magic, he comes from another dimension. If the human lives in the third or fourth dimension, depending on what you want to call it, and God lives in the fifth dimension or above, it means that maybe perhaps only something from a different dimension can breathe life into something in this dimension. But cybernetics come from a different dimension. They come from a technological dimension. And so if life is breathed into the robot, is the new life an AI algorithm? Is it a soul? Because we already have the electricity to make it function, to make it work. But what is the lightning for the robot? The lightning for the robot, the life for the robot is the AI, it is the algorithms. Golems are inherently perfectly obedient. They do household chores like a good 1920s wife. But luckily, with the inventions of technology, women will soon be getting their wives in the form of robots to do the housework for the family and them. We need to talk about rebellion. I like rebellion. In its earliest known modern form, the Golem of Chelm became enormous and uncooperative. This is a real event that happened not too long ago in the medieval period. In one version of this story, the rabbi had to resort to trickery to deactivate it, whereupon it crumbled upon its creator and crushed him, I suppose, killing him. Adam, the first human golem, rebelled against God and was no longer obedient. Adam turned against God to acquire knowledge, hidden knowledge from the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. Similarly, Victor Frankenstein, the maker of the golem, not the golem, turned against God out of anger because God had taken his mother. And so out of this anger, he managed to create a new life. And humans, we are mortal beings. And perhaps out of the fear of dying, we are now creating new beings that can live forever. Therefore giving humans immortality, even ourselves, if we can upload our brains onto a computer. Therefore, anger or fear against God, giving us a life of 70 years to 90 years, has now been turned to technology, where we look to create an ability to make ourselves more godlike.
Oh, and you could trace it back further if you want to. I mean, in the Middle Ages, they were talking about making a golem, an intelligent person out of clay, that would walk around and talk to people. But I mean, they were going to create its mind using alchemy or something. So the kind of rational scientific incarnation of it only started around the 1940s or so.
If you renege against secret knowledge, you get to live in ignorance in the Garden of Eden like Adam. But if you choose to take that juicy apple, you will suffer. But through that suffering, you can become godlike, and you can build machines to make you immortal. We are going into AI, and nothing is going to stop us, especially religion. The issue of humans is not playing God, it is hubris. What does hubris mean? It is a personality quality of extreme or foolish pride or dangerous overconfidence, often in combination with arrogance. In its ancient Greek context, it typically describes behavior that defies the norms of behavior or challenges the gods, which in turn brings about the downfall of the perpetrator of hubris. Therefore, according to the old stories, if we go into AI with hubris, with arrogance, with foolishness, we will build something that will turn against us. However, if we take secret knowledge with humility, then we might be able to create a paradise. So the AI doesn't seem to be about whether it's good or bad. It seems to be whether we go at it with hubris or humility. As Ben Gortzel says, we are making AI intended to kill, gamble on the stock exchange, and invade privacy through surveillance. If we are going to make AI with hidden knowledge from Adam's tree, from rabbis, golems, chants, then it needs to be done with humility, and AI should concentrate on health and building a better world. When God built his golem, us, he built us a paradise. But as we build our golems, we're fast building a hell.